Welcome back to Speak and Serve. And today the question is, do you really need a website anymore as part of your personal brand? And I've got a specialist to help us answer that question, Jude Wharton from Ready Steady Websites. Jude, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. So quickly from the get-go, that's the question. Do we need a website in 2026?
Yes. In short, that is the answer.
All right. Well, Jude is going to explain more as to why we need a website. But first of all, Jude, why do you do what you do?
I do what I do because I feel it is important that small business owners, speakers, and entrepreneurs have people who are really in their corner and helping them to create a fantastic website that makes them stand out online, actually generates leads for their business in a way that they really understand it and feel in control of using it in the best way possible.
Amazing. And how long have you been doing websites?
16 years.
16 years. Wow.
Yes. And I work with my husband and business partner. We run the business together, and he's been doing it for well over 20 years now. So, yeah, quite a while between us.
And my question is always a little bit confrontational in terms of what gives you the right. But tell us, what gives you the right today to tell us about why we still need a website in 2026, Jude?
I think because of my experience, my husband's experience combined, we've seen a lot really since websites became a thing. We've seen a lot of changes in how websites are used and why they're needed. And we have seen people get so much success through having a really good website online that all of that combined puts me in a position where I can talk about it.
All right. Well, let's put money where mouth is, as they say. I focus on speaking, and today we are trying to create websites for speakers. However, we both talked about the fact that a personal brand, maybe a mortgage broker, an independent IFA, a consultant, this is where we're trying to focus today in terms of the need for a website. So with all those people in front of you in a long line, Jude, how do they get websites wrong as a personal brand digital piece?
I think there's a few things that people get wrong. I think the first one is that people will create a website because they know they should. They've started a business or they've gone out on their own as a freelancer consultant or whatever, and somebody said to them, you should have a website. And so they create this website basically as a tick box exercise. They might go and have a look at some other websites that are out there, replicate what they've got, and not really think about why they're creating it. They don't think about what it is they want to achieve through their website, what action they want people to take on the website once they're there. And because they haven't gone through that process of planning it properly and thinking about the outcomes, then their website is just there and does nothing for them. Another big mistake we see people making is that they put a website out there and they think it's all about them. They put their own personal story on the homepage, launching into why they decided to go into business, or they inherited their business from their grandfather or something like that. And nobody cares about that when you initially come to the homepage of the website. The homepage should be about the person who's visiting it. It should be giving them the information they want to know about your business and why they should work with you and what they're going to get from working with you and how to work with you. And I think they're the key things that people just don't think about, why they're putting the website out there and what it is that people want to see on that website homepage to give them the answers to the questions they have.
Gosh, there's a lot in that in terms of where we could go wrong. And just on the aspect of AI, people now say we can create websites for you in minutes. And before you know it, you can go on GoDaddy, you do your domain, and then bish, bash, bosh, you've got a website. Thoughts on that, Jude? Self-creation of websites.
So this is a conversation I literally had with someone on Friday. So he has a website. It's all been designed. It really reflects his brand, really showcases what he offers. Out of interest, because of the nature of the work he did, he decided to go and create one of these AI websites, the vibe coded ones, pop up in minutes. And he sent it to me to see what I thought. And I clicked on it and I sort of chuckled to myself because it looked exactly like every other AI created website that I have seen people having a play around with and see what they think of it. It had absolutely no personality to it. It didn't reflect his brand at all. It was designed purely for design's sake. So his services page didn't even really flow and make sense from the content perspective because the AI builder had decided that putting it into these alternate blocks was a way to go, but then the content was switched around the wrong way. It didn't flow when you read it. So there's still a lot wrong with the AI approach to creating websites because it's not done by a person. It's not done thinking about the user experience. It's not done understanding the message that is on that website. And yeah, it has no personality to it, no real reflection of brand to it. But I said bland then is obviously a Freudian slip because that's what they are. They are all so bland. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing from AI websites at the moment, that they really do all look the same. And then I don't think that they are as easy to sort of maintain and to add the things that need to be done to them for good SEO. They're not as easy to ensure that their page speeds are great and all that kind of thing. So yeah, there's still a lot of work to be done around creating a website that way.
And I'm interested, this particular person that showed off their AI generated website, how proud of that site were they before you roasted them for it?
Well, I should add that he asked me to look at it just because he was having a play around, wanted to see what could be achieved and wanted to know what someone in the world of web really thought of it. He was actually really happy that I preferred his current website because he'd put a lot more time and effort into that had evolved over the years of him being in business. And he was glad that still reflected him better because he's thought that maybe the AI one looked more designed. And I suppose it kind of did because it was going alongside a design theme that so many others are using. So maybe he felt it looked a bit more modern and maybe it was the way to go. But like I said, when everything looks the same, you don't stand out. You're not, and it didn't reflect his brand. If people knew of him already, had already maybe seen his socials, had a chat with him, had a sense of what it was he did, and then went to the AI website, I think they'd be surprised when they hit that because it didn't reflect everything they already knew of him. Going to his current website, it maintains that brand of both his business and his personal brand that he's putting out there at networking and everything else. So he was quite pleased that we didn't, because I did ask Chris, my husband, to look at it as well. He was quite pleased that we felt his one that he already had out there was the one to stick with. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm always very cautious when somebody says, hey, why don't you have a look at this and give me some feedback? My initial thought is, what exactly do you want me to do in terms of what role would you like me to play? And also I'll ask, hey, Jude, by the way, how do you feel about your current website? And based on their response, it would then determine how brutal or congenial I will be with my feedback. Because sometimes people love what they created and then you kind of take the rug from underneath them, and then that doesn't end so well.
I'm always quite nice, even if it's fairly brutal.
I like quite nice.
I deliver it quite nicely.
Okay, so we get the AI version. Let's just say we were creating a website from scratch with Ready Steady Websites. What would be the minimum must-haves that you think, well, if we do nothing else, we must have at least these 1, 2, 3 facets of a good website, Jude?
So the first thing is you need to know what your clear call to action is going to be on your website. So what is it that you want people to do? Are you putting the website out there to get people to book in calls with you? Are you putting the website out there to build your email list because maybe you've got something to give them in return for their email address, like a download of useful hints, or you've got like a very low price item that you're trying to sell through the website, and maybe the purpose of the website is to get people to buy. So So that's the first key thing that you need to come to us with, that clear idea of what it is you want the website to achieve. And then it is really important to have clear messaging as well, that you've got some content that really is talking to the person that you want to attract and be talking to through the website, that gives them a really clear idea of what it is you or your business is offering. And then some good imagery as well, because I think quite a lot of the time we are working with people that have some kind of personal brand. So having some good headshots as a minimum is really important to have on the website, because people will be coming to your website to get to know you better, essentially. They may have heard about you already through somebody else. They may have seen you on socials. They may have met you networking. They may be that they type in what it is you do and you've done really well and you're coming up on Google. And that's even more important, really, that they get a sense of the person who owns the business whose website they're looking at. So having some good imagery that reflects what it is you deliver, as well as yourself, is really important too. So I think they're the three key things that you really know what it is you want your website to achieve. You've got some good content to reflect that and draw people in, and you've got some good imagery that, that's what they're going to see initially. Like, your content is so important, they may not even bother reading that if what they see when they first open that website doesn't draw them in and make them feel like positive about the website they're looking at.
And when you go back to the call to action, you talked about email list or sell something or visit something. Can you create a website that fulfills all three of those criteria? Or are you suggesting let's just focus on one main call to action as part of the website journey?
No, you can definitely have a website that fulfills multiple criteria. I'd always say that you should have a primary purpose for your website. So for us, for Ready Steady websites, the primary thing really is that we want people to click that button and use one of our packages and they can pay through the website. We want people to part with the money. That's the primary purpose. That is essentially why we're running a business. But we know that people are unlikely that the first one or two times they visit the website, they're just going to go, excellent, I've never met these people before, but I'll go and give them my money every month. That's not going to happen. So then we also have a way for people to book a call with us. So that would be the second reaction on our website, that we want them really to jump in, come and have a conversation with us, and hopefully we'll turn them into that person who then goes and clicks on the button to part with the money. And then for us, we have a third purpose as well, which is getting people onto our email list, to warm them up to booking the call, to warm them up more, to click on the primary purpose. So you can have more than one purpose of your website. And I always say the primary purpose is the ultimate one, the one you really want people to achieve to get them working with you, buying from you. And then the others will support that, but they're still all very clear on the website where they can do these things. It's important to have consistent colours, drawing them into those consistent call to actions. But yeah, certainly you're going to have an ultimate goal for your website, but people aren't necessarily going to click on it straight away. So that's why you have to have those other purposes to support that.
And from a purely selfish perspective, anybody knows a speaker. Where would be your primary call to action for a speaker who wants to be communicating their message to more people? What would be your clarion call for that type of person to have on their website as their primary purpose?
So on a speaker website, if they're really looking out there to get booked for speaking gigs or come on as guests for podcasts, that kind of thing, you could have a book me button or book me now button, or if actually you've got an agent that they want to go through, you could have a get in touch button, something like that, that sends them to the page that gives them all the information around the booking, the getting in touch. That's the primary call to action for a speaker. That's what they want to achieve through their website, getting people so interested that they're actually taking that leap to have that conversation about someone coming along and doing a speaking slot for them. But then equally on top of that, I think it's important, and I think this is something we see that some speakers don't do quite so well, is to be building up that email list so that they can have a newsletter going out once a month, maybe talking about the speaking gigs that they have done recently, or if they've added a new keynote to their repertoire, they can go and inform everyone on their email list that they're now doing this, that, and the other. So it's really important to have that secondary one to, again, be warming people up to booking them in for a speaking gig.
Perfect. Now, I've been on your website. I really like the sort of what I'll call it a ladder of things that I could click on. And one of the things I saw was your ready, steady checklist of things that you could do for your website. Tell us about that, Jude.
So yeah, we have worked with so many people over the years, and quite a lot of the time people come to us because they've got a website, but it's not doing anything for them. They've got it out there, but they're not seeing leads coming in, and they're just wondering what's wrong. So we created our website checklist, which is an 11-point checklist for people to go through and just consider each of the aspects against their current website and just think about whether their website is actually doing that well. And it gives some tips as well around the things they could be improving. Quite a lot of people have used the checklist and then decided, do you know what? I've failed to tick off so many of these. Maybe I just need to call it a day and start from scratch again. Some people have found it incredibly useful because they've realised that actually there's only a couple of things wrong, but they're quite key things. But if they can improve those, then they'll start to see a massive difference. And for those who are speakers, we do have a specific speaker website checklist as well, which really does focus in on the key things, because I think a speaker website is slightly different to a small business website. There are elements on there that speakers should have, considering all of the things that will make it easy for bookers to book them, to promote them, to get things ready for them on the day. All of those things should be on their website to make life easy for the bookers or the event organisers as well. So yeah, we do have a specific speaker checklist, which has a different link, but I can give that to you, Chris, so you can put it somewhere where people can see it. But yeah, both of them are really useful to help people get their website doing what it should be doing and actually generating leads through the website.
Well, if you want to look on the website now, that's readysteadywebsites.com. It's down here. And if anybody's listening, it's readysteadywebsites.com. And in the show description, so long as Jude follows up with me, I will also give you the specific link to the speaker checklist as well. Thank you very much, Jude. And I've seen it. It's a very simple process. Just give your email, and obviously Jude will send you that. And I assume you'll be able to give them the option to unsubscribe, Jude, rather than continually battering them with email after email after email, I assume.
Of course, GDPR and all that. It's all very compliant. I mean, if you want to stay on the list, though, we don't batter too much. We are very much an email every Monday with some useful hints and tips, or maybe a link off to another useful resource. So yes, we don't take a particularly salesy approach. We take more of a helpful approach to our email list.
Well, useful tips. I guess it's all about providing the value then. Is that a big foundation of your websites in terms of what you're advocating for people to do?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's really important in all areas of business, that the more value you give, the more someone's going to see the worth of working with you, booking you, whatever it is. People feel that they're being looked after if you're providing them with useful information as well. So I think that's really helpful. But, if we're being honest, if someone sees this value, sees your tips, they start to realise that they actually really do know their stuff. Maybe they are worth having a chat to. Maybe they are worth working with. And yes, the same with all areas of business. If you've got a speaker sending out regular things about snippets of their fantastic talks, and even you just watch 5 minutes of that and think, God, that was really inspirational, that's when you might start to think, maybe I want to get this person along and I want to see the whole keynote that they do. So yeah, doing those kind of things really does help. And so I do feel it's not all just about the website. It is about building the email list. It is about the nurturing afterwards. It is about the automations and following up with people. It's all part of the package that makes that sort of website and the online presence work.
Talk to the person that is I would say, perhaps perfectionist, and they keep on wanting to release the website, but their hair's not quite right. They haven't quite got the right shirt on, or the branding's not quite the right color. And they just keep waiting and waiting and waiting. Talk to the person that is sitting there with their hands closed, not able to release their website yet, when in fact, perhaps done is better than perfect.
Yeah, I'd say so. This is a phrase that my husband uses a lot, that a website is not a painting on the wall. Once you put it out there, it's not done, it's not finished. It can be adapted and amended and updated as you want and need to. And so it is so important to get something out there, because there are many, many people who, if they've heard about a business, the first thing they'll do is want to go and look at their website. That's the first place that like a majority of people will go and check them out. So if you don't have a website out there, automatically you're losing business. So at least if you've got something out there, even if it's not perfect, there's somewhere for people to go and have a look at what it is you do. And it won't be perfect and it will never be finished. Our website certainly is never finished. We're always going, oh yeah, we should just like tweak this plan, or do you know what? Let's add this offering in. We're always adding new blog posts. We're always thinking like this free resource isn't quite right for people anymore. We'll take that down. We'll put this one in its place. So it's always going to be changing. You're never going to get it perfect. And so it is certainly much better to get something out there, because I almost guarantee that there are people who have gone to look for your website online, have not found anything, and therefore you haven't got the business.
Right. Well, I love that about it's not a painting and it's never finished. And in fact, often to create an update or tweak things or change things, Google likes to see the fact that websites are ever evolving, because it shows that you are in touch with your business. Just in terms of trends, I've seen things like scorecard apps or ratings or funnels or clicks or emails or blogs. What do you feel is the 2026 move for creating the step between getting somebody's attention and then moving them a step down the funnel using the website as a vehicle to do that?
So, in 2026, I think the key thing is, for the getting attention point of view, is to be having a presence in a lot of different places. So I think it was a couple of weeks ago, I put this in our Monday email that goes out, but it is going on my social media this week, about the fact that both search engines and also to start appearing in AI searches, you need to be seen to be in different places and be seen to be an expert in a range of places. So having a website is incredibly important, because that's where everything should be pointing to. That's where all your traffic is coming into, which is really good from a Google perspective. Lots of traffic coming to it from different places. But then having a presence on a couple of different social platforms, especially if you're in a business to business environment, having a presence on LinkedIn is important, because that is really being looked at by search engines. And then if you've got other people talking about you on their websites and linking back to you, you've got other people talking about you on LinkedIn, so you're starting to show up as an expert. That's really important, because traffic will be coming directly from there when people start to see you being mentioned, but also that is where the AI search results seem to be coming from as well, seeing you mentioned on a range of places. Then once people get to your website, I do really, really advocate the building an email list. I think that owning a place where you are talking to people is important, because you can have thousands of LinkedIn followers and then they can vanish overnight. That's genuinely happened to people I'm connected with. They went to their LinkedIn and went, why have I got 500 less connections today? What's gone on here? Because there's a bug. Something's happened. You weren't in control of it. There's nothing you can do about it. But if you've got an email list and you are regularly downloading a CSV, just to make sure, if something does happen to your email marketing platform, you've still got those email addresses. You can continue to nurture and talk to those people. Is really important. And contacting them regularly, and regularly can be up to you. Do it in a way that you will be able to maintain the regularity of it. I will send out an email once a week. Like I've said, other people feel that once a month is right for them. That's great. And that is really key to, like I said, putting some good tips out there, things like that. But having a blog on your website is really good too, because that'll attract people from the outside. But also, it's a really good thing to send the people from your email list back to. It's a way to get them back to your website again to see something really useful. Again, it's driving traffic to your website, good for Google. But they're then on your website again. So they might, and if you do your blog right and you've got a call to action at the end leading them to somewhere else on your website, they're then in your website again. They're having another look around again. It's just reminding them what your services are. They can see if anything's changed, keeping you in their mind. And if nothing else, by sending out that regular email, even if they don't open it, your people are much more likely to be looking through their email inbox every day and seeing your name in there every so often, just as a reminder that you still exist, rather than you necessarily popping up on their social media feed or anything like that. So I think that taking that approach, having a website in the center of it all, funneling that into some kind of email marketing in a very helpful way, a non-marketing way, is a really good way of keeping people in your world, sending them back to see what you're up to, and also like add new testimonials to your website, add new projects you've worked on, new things to your portfolio, depending on the type of business you've got. And again, talk about those in your emails to people, like, oh, we had a lovely testimonial from so and so the other day, really appreciated this. You want to go and take a look at what they do. You're being helpful to the person who left a testimonial by showcasing them to your list a bit, but it's also bigging you up to your list as well. And just all of these things work. And I think so many people that we work with have been on our email list for a while before they work with us, and they say things like, I read all of your blog posts, I always open your emails because they're so useful. Then they end up working with us. So yeah, it definitely works.
Well, that's good to know it works. I'm feeling slightly overwhelmed with, I love your answer, but that sounds like a lot of work in terms of the blog, the email, the testimonials, because, speakers, we like to talk about ourselves, and also we like to be oratory, and all of that stuff on content and creating emails and all the copy. How do you all get all of that done, Jude?
Well, so I wrote an email. So I wrote an email about getting sort of featured in AI search rankings the other day. So that went out on my email list. That's also going to be my social post on Tuesday. I will also write a blog post around that same subject, tweaking it a little bit. And then that's, that social post, email and blog post, all essentially the same thing with a bit of tweaking. And then I'll do other social media posts pointing to the blog later on. So there we go. We've got some other ones there as well. So actually, you don't have to do a huge amount of writing to cover all of those bases off. You can take one bit of content and turn it into a number of pieces of content. And I think that's important to remember, that it doesn't have to be the same thing every time. The people who see my email, some of them will see my LinkedIn post, but not all of them. It doesn't matter if they see it twice. I sent it out a couple of weeks ago on email. It's just a nice little reminder for them when they see it on LinkedIn. So I think it is important to realise that. I think as well that, like, my role in our business, part of it is doing the marketing. So for me, it's part of my work. Yes, for others, it's not. If you're running a business by yourself, it's really hard to do everything yourself. So I think it is about picking the aspects that you can do. Like I said, I'll do a weekly email, but if you choose to do a monthly one, that's only 12 emails. I actually know someone who, she really does plan out the messages she wants to get out throughout the year in her business at the start of the year. She sits down and writes her 12 emails in January. And then that is done, scheduled, sorted for the year. It doesn't have to be something that's constantly in the back of your mind thinking, oh, that's another task I've got to get done next week. There can be a lot of planning ahead and scheduling it. And I think that that's a really good thing to do. You can do the same with blog posts. and with all your social media now, really, you can have autoresponders on the social media, so that if somebody says, yeah, I love the sound of that freebie, please can I have it? And they say the word freebie in their comment, it automatically gets sent the link into their DMs. There's so much you can do now to have it done for you without having to be there. But I do think it is really worthwhile.
Well, you touched on something there that is very aggravating for me sometimes, which is done for you, which is done by others as opposed to the personal brand proponent, in that I will talk about my message and it always comes from my fingers, my brain, and my heart. And other people will outsource that. What are your perspectives on done for you by done by others?
I think it depends on who you get to do it. So I know a couple of different people who do offer the done for you blogs, social media content, emails, everything around that. I think if it's done in a way where so the people I know tend to have a sort of a half-hour call with the person at the start of each month. They have a conversation with them about what is the message you want to get out this month, what is it that you want to be talking about. They record this call, and through the conversation, they'll ask more questions about it and go into detail about it. Then in that half-hour call, that person in their conversation has basically talked through a blog post and a monthly email and 8 pieces of content, so a couple of social posts a week. And so it is in their voice. It has come from their heart. It is the message that they want to get across, but they've done it in a half-hour chat rather than sitting there and thinking, I've got to write a blog post now, 4 emails and 8 pieces of social media content. That can then all get written for them by the copywriter or the social media person or whoever it is they're working for. So I think that is absolutely fine as long as it is done right, because what they're really doing is transcribing and organizing and making flow the conversation that has been had. So yeah, I think it works if it's done right. I think there's probably people out there going, no, it's fine, I'll just look back at some of your other posts you put out there in the past and I'll just rehash them. And what I think is important is that once those posts are out there, or those emails are out there, if someone replies to the email or if someone comments on the post, that then the conversation and the responses then are done by that business owner or that person if it's going on LinkedIn. Because that's where I think it gets tricky if you've got a social media person doing the responses. And then say I had a social media person doing my responses, you commented on one of my LinkedIn posts, you think you've had a conversation with me in the comments, then we bump into each other at networking and you go, oh, I love that chat we had on your post last week, Jude. That was really good. And I'm going, oh, what now? That's not so great. So I think the conversations in the comments have to be genuine, but I think it's absolutely fine to get a LinkedIn ghostwriter or whatever they want to call themselves to create the content based on genuine conversation.
Very good. All right. Well, all my friends and people that I know that are content writers and ghostwriters, I like you all, and I think you all have a place. And Jude is a complete supporter of you as well. Now, in terms of the AI, I heard about a phrase now, which is not search engine optimization, but search everywhere optimization. And I've heard that it's important now to feature questions on your website that could link to what people are searching for in AI. Truth or myth, Jude?
So a little while ago, people were saying that, yes, you should have a schema on your website and you should be having, the questions in there and the answers and everything else. And then very quickly, people were then saying, oh, no, that's not a good thing to do. Google's actually clocking that you're doing that and you're doing it purely to get ranked and they don't like seeing it anymore. What I think still very much works, and I can definitely say it does work because we have this happening on our website and we see ourselves in the search results, is that if you have blog posts which have titles that are questions that you know that people are going to be looking for, that works. Those blog posts will then be surfaced as results on Google, and that can be really useful. Then what is really, really important and makes it even better though, I'm just going to use my post and everything we've got as an example. So I have a number of posts on the website for different types of business, and one of them is a speaker websites, and it's something like my post is something around like the 7 top things you must have on your speaker website. Then within the post, my subheadings are questions, so those questions will be put up, like what is the most important thing for a speaker to have on their website, what should I have on my speaker about page, that kind of thing. That speaker post does really well when you look up websites for speakers, speaker websites, speaker web designs, that kind of thing. That post is then linked to a page on our website that, again, the title is specifically around speaker websites. And then it talks specifically about what people will get from us if they work with us to create their speaker website. Having that kind of content flow of a blog post that links directly to a page that both have the same search terms on them and will feature in people's questions is really, really does work well and is really key. So yeah, that's the way to use questions on your website, having those subheadings in blogs or even as titles of blogs and that kind of thing, but not using some kind of questioning schema on there.
Useful. And where do you go, Jude, or where would you recommend to find the trends as to what people are currently searching for to create the blog post or the content?
So there's a range of websites out there. There's things like Answer the Public, and there's one called, I think is it Ask Socrates or Answer Socrates? I always get those muddled up. But there are a range of websites out there that you can type in either keywords or you can type in specific questions, and it will show you how many people are searching for that type of thing. It will show you other linked questions and relevant questions that are also being searched for around that. So that's a really good way of seeing like what are people looking for out there, and so that you can be like drawing your content to meet those. Also, I would just think about the conversations you're having with clients or prospective clients, or even when you have like networking conversations, and people will naturally be asking you about their business, about your business, and trying to understand different parts of it. And in those conversations, you must be hearing similar questions over and over again. So they're the things that people are asking, and they're the things you should be answering. So they're the ways I'd recommend you go and work out the questions to answer.
One of my favorite questions with a client is, what's top of mind for you right now? And you just listen, and they might be talking about fuel increases, operational costs, unexpected geopolitical events. Well, there's the clues as to what your clients are thinking about, and therefore provide them with content that serves what they are ideating on.
Yeah.
Jude, somebody out there that's listening still, thank you very much for still listening, and they're still sat there with their arms folded thinking, now I'm going to do it all by myself, this website lark, all that stuff that June says, I think I've got this, I think I can do it all by myself on my GoDaddy, and I can put it all together by myself. How much would you like them to continue doing that, or find a professional that can do it better for them?
I think for a number of reasons, they should find a professional to do it for them. I think the first one is that unless you have previously had a background in web design and web build, if you're creating a website yourself, it's unlikely to come out reflecting you as a professional in the best way possible. Because, you are out there doing what you do because you're great at what you're doing. So therefore, your website should look as professional as you are. And very few completely DIY websites do that. With Ready Steady websites, we do have templates for people to create their website themselves, but they're already designed for those business niches. They really are a come and pop your content in, and you've got a website that is absolutely right for what you're trying to put out there into the world. So you can definitely do a hybrid approach, but going completely DIY when you are a professional business, I don't think is going to reflect you well. Also, is that the best way to be spending your time? Or would your time be better spent going out there, doing what it is that you do so well, talking to the people who are already interested in your services, working on those warm leads that you have got in your pipeline and converting them into paying clients or customers, rather than sitting there banging your head against a brick wall trying to work out why your title won't be the size you want it to be and why your image has gone all squiffy? Because that is realistically what so many people end up spending their time doing for far too long, when someone who knows what they're doing could have sorted that out in about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So it is worth thinking if your time is being spent wisely in your business.
I call that creative procrastination. It feels fantastic to go out there and change the thumbnail. Yes, I've done it. But what else could you have been doing in the time it took, where Jude could have just done it with a few clicks of a button, go, ta-da! Yes.
Exactly.
Now, 2026 looks like an exciting year for you, Jude. And in particular, I think you've got something coming up in July that is very relevant for speakers. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. So we are the headline sponsors, and we are also running a workshop at the Speaker Summit this year. It's actually the Speaker Summit and Awards. It all happens on the same couple of days in London at the start of July. The main event is on the 3rd of July. And yeah, that's something we got involved with because we have known somebody called Maria Franzoni, who has had a long career as a speaker agent. She had her own speaker bureau, and now she primarily mentors new speakers wanting to get into the speaker world. And yes, she's known us for a long time. We did her branding and her website in the past. She always sends speakers to us who need websites, and she's been involved in the summit and the awards for a number of years now. And yeah, she just felt that this year we should get involved. We also know Elliot Kay, who does a lot of the sort of heading up of the organisation of it. And yeah, he was very keen to get us in as a headline sponsor. And so, yeah, after chatting to them, after being part of their online summit at the end of last year and running a session for that, we went, let's go for it. Let's, get involved. Let's help people on the day with creating their speaker website, making sure they get the best speaker website possible out there. And yeah, take it from there.
Full disclosure, it looks amazing. I've already committed to walking the coast to coast on Madeira with my son after his A-level celebration. So I can't go. However, I did see all the preamble, the pre-live launch, and I have to agree with you. It looks absolutely spot on. And what are you covering in your session, your workshop?
So in the workshop, we are going to be focusing on that, getting your main call to action right, really thinking about the purpose of the website. We're going to be doing some real practical planning of the website, getting people really starting to think about their content and their messaging. And then people can have their laptops with them on the day if they want us to take a look at what they've got there at the moment. And yeah, just really go through a very practical session around making sure that their website has got everything on it that it should have on it to get them booked and make them stand out to bookers, so that they're the ones that the bookers actually get in contact with and don't pass them over.
So Cruel to Be Kind, Jude is going to be there roasting people's websites saying, did you do this yourself? I'd never have guessed.
Yes, but I think I'm not cruel. I'm never cruel. I'm always nice in the way that I give the feedback. But yes, I absolutely will say it as it is, because we're all here to do as well as we possibly can in business. And it's not going to help anyone if I just go, oh, well done for doing that yourself, because that's not going to help them get booked anymore. So yeah, and we are also going to be talking about, the way that search, like you said, it's not just about being found on the search engines anymore. It is about being found everywhere. So we will be talking a bit about that as well to help people, get themselves seen as much as possible.
Well, good luck with that. It does look like an amazing event. And I'm a real believer at the moment of being in person, being in the room and being live, connecting with the community is such a big part of the way that digital is going and the way the business is going. So great idea to get involved with the Speaker Summit, because A, it's a good event, and B, your audience is going to be in the room. So what's not to like?
Well, absolutely. And yeah, as much as my business is very online focused, I'm completely with you. I am out and about at so many events at the moment, so many in-person networking. I still love the online as well, but the in-person I feel like is massively taken off again. So yeah, try and get out as much as possible away from the computer.
All of my podcasts and videos finish with the same three questions. You know what those are going to be already, Jude. But is there anything, or what have I not covered, that when we click off, you think, oh, I wish I told Chris about that? Apart from boys' football on a Sunday, which was another conversation altogether. We can't go there. What?
No, I mean, I've touched on it about the fact that like your website is never finished. But I think far too many people still put a website out there and go, great, nailed it. There we go. I'll walk away. But I really want to impress on people that it is really important that firstly, you like schedule a regular time that you just check back in with your website. Is everything on it still up to date? Did you change a price of something and forgot to say? You know, that kind of thing. Touching base with it every couple of years from a images point of view and think, do I still look like that? Honestly, if someone saw me at networking, then came to my website, am I looking the same? Do I need to refresh this? And also putting new content on it, a minimum of monthly. And it doesn't have to be massive amounts of content. It can be that you add a new testimonial in there somewhere. It can be that you pop a blog post on there once a month, or it might be if you write case studies, or you have, like we have a showcase page, we can add a new client's website onto our showcase page. Something once a month is really good, from a Google point of view, just to remind Google and the other search engines that exist that you're out there. But also, if people are coming and having a look at what you do, then going away and having a think, coming back again, and then in that time, a new something went on your showcase page or your portfolio page, a new testimonials popped up. That makes you look good. So it shows how active you are and that more and more people are saying awesome things about you. So yeah, I think that's something. Once a month, pop on something new on there and just check that everything that's already on there really is up to date.
I'm so glad you said that. I was only with somebody over the weekend and we were on a website to do some research, and the membership button didn't work to say click here to get memberships, and you couldn't find the detail. There was a testimonial that was 2023, which is now 3 years out of date. So I really applaud you for that hack. But also, can I add to it, which is get a third party also to be a user experience on your website, because they'll see, feel, and find things that you miss with your own blind spots because you know the navigational track of how the website works. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
All right, Jude. Well, thank you so much. So much information shared. And again, you'll find all the links to Jude's website and some of those checklists. But a lady, a mum, business owner, what would be your 3 takeaways for us to lead a long, healthy, happy life, Jude?
So my first one would be always make time for exercise. That is a non-negotiable in my week. I will always have a couple of mornings where I might start work later, but I feel like I'm even more productive that day because I started the day with exercise, and I probably get more done in those slightly shorter days than I would if I'd sat at my desk all day. So yeah, always make time for exercise. I think it's really important to have outside time every day as well, even if it's raining, even if it is just standing under cover at the back door of your house with a cup of tea, but getting some fresh air. I think that's so important. Although I will go out for a stomp in the rain or any weather because I'm not very good at sitting still. And making time for other people. I think having that, whether it's just like your immediate family and having a family meal together, like having a meal around the table with people every day, I think is key as well. Or just getting your friends over for an afternoon on a Sunday, or something like that. I think making sure it's so hard to lose contact with people in our busy lives where we are so focused on online things, but actually having that in-person connection, catching up with friends you haven't seen for a while, that kind of thing, it like just can light a light inside you again. So yeah, they'd be my 3 things.
Very good 3 things. So it sounds like we can have a walk with friends outside in the tipping rain, and we're going to tick all three because we can get connection,
Absolutely.
exercise, and a little bit of a stomp outside. I like that stomp. Do you have a stroppy stomp sometimes when you're out there stomping around, just berating life about this or that, or something
Yep,
happened?
they can definitely start stroppy. By the end, they tend not to be stroppy anymore because the walk has done its job and the stroppiness is gone. But yeah, they can start stroppy.
Anything you'd like to just sort of do? And Victor Meldrew sort of, I don't believe it today about stroppiness on websites, Jude. Feel free. I won't share it on socials at all.
My stroppy thing is if I go to a website and there's an instant pop-up. Do you know people have got better at this, but there's still some websites that are instant pop-ups. And I'm like, no, for so many reasons. You've annoyed your website visitor straight away. You've stuffed your Google search results quite quickly with that one as well. Even worse, instant pop-up while you're looking at a website on a phone and the box to get the little clicky thing is off the screen.
And you
I'm
can't.
gone.
Yes, yes. And then the ones that has the lovely animated film that you can't stop and you have to watch the whole 2 minutes. Yeah, see you later.
Yeah.
I'm gone.
And film with sound auto playing, and you're on a train or in a library.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe we should
that's
just have a
another
bit
one.
more roasting now as to what else are your pet hates on website. This is a lot more entertaining for us to just go back and forth on. Go on, what else, Jude?
Well, I mean, another one is the launching into your autobiography on your homepage. And it's just like, I once went to a website. I have various dietary requirements. I went to a website. I wanted to buy some chocolate, had heard this website was pretty good this business was pretty good for catering for dietary requirements. And the homepage of the website was all about how her grandfather had started the business and goodness knows what date and why she decided to take it over and the love of this, that, and the other. And I was like, I literally just want to find out if your chocolate has got various things in it. And in the end, couldn't even find it, even once I had navigated the life story and got onto the product pages. So yeah, that annoyed me. Making sure you have those key things on the website, not the things that you thought were lovely. Put that on the about page. If I'd then found what I wanted and thought, oh, maybe I'll go and find out a bit more about this business, I'd have clicked on the about page. About page is where you ask to find out. You don't walk into a room and someone just goes, oh, Chris, did you know that my granddad in 1936? I wouldn't do that. It's weird. But apparently people think it's all right on the homepage of their website.
And that's often the DIY, isn't it? I must tell everybody about all my credentials, my qualifications, all the times that I studied under the darkness of night to get that little tick box in the ILM level 7. It doesn't really matter.
Absolutely. Yes.
Jude, we will end it there. I've thoroughly enjoyed the conversation today. I really wish you such success with Speaker Summit and all that workshop stuff that you're going to do. And ladies and gentlemen, please go down to those website checklists. I've seen them. They're really good. And I guarantee that you will learn something from each one of those. Jude Wharton, Ready Steady Websites, thank you very much for being one of my fantastic guests on the Speak and Serve channel. Thank you very much.
Thank you.